The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM. The living room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked onto the true nation station, WACK 90.1 FM, where we are.
Culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and say it with the chest that Columbus lied, but also talk about in music Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for.
I gotta say postpone.
Yeah.
And I had a nice P word, but that special guest, we'll be having him next week instead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say penance, right? Because we in a season of pondering parlances over the past couple of weeks. The Roman Catholic community is celebrating Lent. No, the Muslim community is in Ramadan.
Right.
Right. A lot of people.
Is it that you should say that they celebrate, or is it that they're observing?
I'd say observing. Yeah. Appreciate that. Right. So yes, observing Lent and observing Ramadan. So happy and holy Lent and Ramadan Kareem, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the space we're in. Politically, we're seeing some unfolding. As another P word, we're seeing all sorts of things in terms of. We'd like to do a post up on Carnival, get some feedback as to what your experience has been, and also even you're a pretty big deal in media and communications, Aaron, and as a representative of the culture, you've had some experiences that most of us as participants or observers would not have had.
I think the righteous person to ask that to is Kenny, because Kenny would have had a lot of experiences that you and I didn't have.
I would love to have a conversation with Mr. Philippe. But I'll have to have two with him, one on air and one off air, because what he want to tell me off air, he might tell him telling me on air, and I ain't looking for all of that to go in front of people.
Yeah, same. Right. For those that didn't know, yesterday, which was Monday, we would have opened the central block of the Port of Spain General Hospital, which would be probably one of the final two appearances of our soon to, I don't know if to say retire.
Let me say soon to be former
Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. And this is actually a historic move on the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago, where I think this is the first time that a Prime Minister retired in current office.
There's a difference between historic and unprecedented, I guess we'll see how historic it is in due time, but it is definitely unprecedented.
All right. So, because by the time we come back next week, he would have officially relieved himself of office, and the Prime Minister in waiting, Stuart Young, the Honorable Stuart Young, I do apologize, would now be the new Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. So we take this opportunity to wish Dr. Rowley a happy retirement. And as we say in the living room, he retired in peace.
Eric is right. Peace, retired in peace, or in pieces, but we
I know,
shall.
but hey, whoa. Let's do the polite thing first, and now we could come and say there is, however.
But Aaron, you did the polite thing. What I'm saying is that we are also we're still in a SOE, right? We're still in predicaments regarding what's going on with Dragon. We're still in predicaments in terms of whether or not we own the pitch lake, and we had to buy pitch from the Chinese. We still
as you mentioned that we still in predicament with the SOE because we would have recorded this on Monday, right? And there is supposed to be a press conference by the Minister of National Security on Tuesday. So whatever happened there, we are not able to speak on it.
But depending on what time is the press conference?
10:30.
10:30 a.m.
10:30 a.m.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, so I just saying that is it going to be extended? Is there going to be implementation of restrictive practices that weren't in place before? What I was saying, Aaron, is I get it. You know, in Titanic, when the ship was sinking, the fellas were playing the violin all the way down.
Oh, sorry, I stand corrected. The press conference is 2:30.
2:30. Oh well, no, definitely wouldn't have time to.
Yeah.
To update. But that's why we have before us. We have Tony Prescott, who will be able to bring to you guys
the live reaction.
Live and direct. Yeah.
And also whatever boy had a pelt after the pelt too.
Wow.
Nah, but there's a lot of unfinished business within this last 5-year tenure of the ruling party. I don't want to say of the government because the government comprises of both the ruling party and the opposition.
You know,
what's that?
Something I also saw, Mr. Williams.
But while you're looking for that, right? There's a lot of oh gosh, you have to throw off my train of thought there. I was just going to say there's a lot of unfinished business. To paraphrase Iowa, from this ruling party within the last 5 years, and a lot of unfulfilled promises from their manifesto as well.
That was actually what I was looking for. There was a report in the Guardian.
I actually read that this morning.
Yeah, it's not so the Trinidad Guardian. Making sure we call date and thing. I'm looking for nobody to say this what we're doing. But on the Trinidad Guardian, 10th of March, there was a report that the PNM government only fulfilled, the government only fulfilled less than half of
the winning party, the ruling party
election manifesto. All right, so that's the thing I was going to say.
Okay, great minds.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know which side you're on.
We have 2 beacons. Hey, don't worry, I'll switch it.
Right. With that being said, I continue to ask that we, the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago, do our part to hold our government accountable. Because I've been very soft-spoken because my voice still catching back itself, honestly. Right? 1. And 2, because I think I'm tired. I'm genuinely tired, not just from the Carnival season, but of the fact that it's a very impossible task here in Trinidad and Tobago to hold our leaders or persons in authority accountable for their lack of delivery or lack of maintenance or lack of communication on their promises, on their deliverables, or with us, the citizenry.
All right, let's acknowledge the reality that a lot of the last term was post-COVID navigation.
And I'm going to say not just post-COVID, a lot of the last term, the 60% of the term would have been in COVIDious times.
Right. So, all talks that aside, it's not like we didn't have things that might have compromised the rollout of some of these promises. Let's
Correct.
also look at the fact that we had other external factors, let's say even politically, regarding the legitimacy of the Venezuelan government and what that would have mean for our gas deals. Right? We've had situations like how to put it by shipping issues externally, the Suez Canal being blocked, and those types of things that would have impacted the ability for us to import goods. We would have had locally, and this is again not excusing any of the failures, but pointing out that even something as not as simple, but something as instrumental as having the scanners on the port would have been a contributor to some of the things that came into and left the country accordingly, which would have contributed to crime, which would impact economy. It's not that there aren't reasons why.
Correct.
Again, and I'm also going to throw Trinidad and Tobago citizenry as being a major factor in that. We are very selective in terms of what we take up, to what we take issue with.
But also, Carlo, as much as I understand that there were many external factors that could cause a lack of proper delivery or a lack of achievement, there are certain things which I just cannot continue to accept in my sweet country. Why must I still endure 2.5 hours on a morning to go up the highway?
Why a project that was supposed to finish in August of 2024, and then we were told it was going to finish at the end of 2024. We are now well into the 3rd month of 2025.
Correct,
and the most that they could have done was celebrate the opening of a stretch of the repairs a couple of weeks ago. Come on.
Correct is right.
Right. So
why is it that in my beloved Trinidad and Tobago, a stadium, a functional stadium with a properly functioning field cannot be utilized because of a lack of maintenance to the main stand? If you don't know what I'm talking about Manny Ramchand Stadium.
Yeah.
Why is it that at another stadium that was only built and commissioned in the year 2000, the car park is like an undulating plane in New Zealand?
Well, we can have an undulating plane situation in Manny Ramchand as well, to be honest with you. Walking in the car park.
No, Cuba worse.
Cuba worse?
Yes, Cuba's worse.
Yeah. So let's not act as if it's not feelings to perform as well.
And now go and say also why we still relaying our turf at a stadium every time there's a meet. We don't do maintenance here.
Let me not ask questions. You already know the answers to them. Right?
No. You know why I'm asking those questions and posing those things and using sports as the low-hanging fruit here? Because misappropriation of funds can be utilized elsewhere. You know how nice it will be every year that we don't have to deconstruct and reconstruct the North Stand and could have a permanent home for Carnival in Trinidad and Tobago?
I hear you.
Or even a fully functional and reliable public transport system, which could also help alleviate the 2.5 hours, because I don't know if always watch it. The average car going up the highway is one person. You don't feel if we had reliable public transport?
I try not to get into
a circular
discussion.
We're not politicking, my bad. There's just a rant.
What I'm saying is if there was a rapid rail system, right? And we had a fully functional ferry system that would extend to, let me say, Point 14 and those types of things, we wouldn't have these problems, right? Even in terms of PTSD era. Fairly reliable when it's working. It's not that they don't have horror stories there too. So what I'm saying is that it's not that we don't have things in play or in place, right?
But there's a lot of improvement.
Where we don't fail in implementation, we tend to fail in maintenance.
Correct.
Right. So,
and where we don't fail in implementation or maintenance, we fail in management.
So let's remember that these systems are being managed mostly by trainees. Right? We have some personal responsibility for what working and what not working.
You're trying interesting spoke in the wheel there, Ricardo.
Sorry, Trinbagonians. Yeah, go ahead.
But you're trying interesting spoke in the wheel. And I'm happy it came up because what also came up last week was that there was a preferred bidder for the Point-A-Pay refinery. Do you think that if our national assets, right? And assets, I'm saying using the word assets very broad brushly here. In terms of assets, I mean our companies, the infrastructure. Do you think if they were managed by foreigners, do you think we would be able to reap more reward or return from them?
Any catch. I'm not going to say that foreigners would run it better than we would, or that they could turn these things into profit-making machines. What I will say is that we have a large number of Trinbagonians who are working for these companies in other countries. So the skill set that we expecting from foreigners, we are actually contributing to in foreign. We can apply those same skill sets, the same education, the same experience here. We have a problem with the systems we have in place. We have talent that only thrives externally because many of our systems do not support the people who are implementing to maximize what these systems can produce. All right. So we could work this top down, bottom up. We could work this from an individual perspective. We could work it from a leadership perspective. We could work it from a systemic improvement perspective, whatever. All I'm saying is that we can, and I'm starting to understand the older that I get, where the absence of political will is a contributor to many of our failings. Similarly, the world has enough resource to feed and house everyone. There's not a will to do so because there are people who believe that they should benefit more than others, regardless of the contribution they put in or not. I'm not saying that because you work harder than somebody else or had a better starting point that you shouldn't benefit from the fruits of your labor. What I'm saying is that there are very deliberate measures that oppress people. There are very deliberate practices that minimize the ability of people to close the gap between where they are and the station they would aspire to. So I'm not going to blame poor people for being poor, and I'm not going to criticize rich people for being rich. Right? What I'm saying is that there is enough for everyone. There's an African proverb that says, instead of building higher fences, we should build bigger tables. Right? There's another proverb that I believe might be Greek in origin. I'm not sure, just guessing here, but it says that a rising tide lifts all ships. I'm going to look it up to see where its origin is. But generally, it's not to say it's a local concept that everyone can benefit. It is a global concept that everyone can benefit. Right? And it's really just a case of whether or not we're serious about getting there. I'm just making sure that nobody could come out and say that I'm anti-capitalist or that I'm speaking from a socialist or communist perspective. It's not there are global worldviews, people entitled to the one that they want to back and support. What I'm saying is that for sweet tea and tea, there is enough for everyone who will be willing to distribute differently. Right, but what are you going to do? What I want to know from you, Era, in a complete complete turn from this particular conversation is what do you think about Chalky, right?
Oh, that's the pivot you're using.
I want to know what do you think about Chalky.
To answer your question, it was the phrase "a rising tide lifts all boats" was made popular by John F. Kennedy back in 1963 in a speech he made in Arkansas. Yeah.
I
So that's how I know that.
I just realized the layout of this video footage might be featuring you more than me, but I'll fix it there. So if only I had to suffer the absence of my face, don't worry, it has been rectified. But going on. Yeah, you see JFK? He popularized it.
Yeah, 1963.
Don't know
In
how
a speech.
I just feel like it is Mediterranean in nature.
We'll probably try and provide more feedback on that later down. Right? Where do I begin, Barry? Firstly, I am not going to discredit or underappreciate the contribution that Dr. Hollis Liverpool has played to the culture or the art form of Calypso here in Trinidad and Tobago. He is a multiple-time Calypso Monarch winner, if my memory serves me correct. I think it's 11 times that Choctaws has won the Calypso Monarch here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I thank him for all his contributions. However, there are some statements that I could pull out from what that clipping of an interview. Because I would love to hear the entirety of that interview. Because again, we are judging his comments based on what was shared with the public.
Right, and we all know how dangerous that is.
And we know how dangerous that is, right? So take my feedback with a pinch of salt, because I am coming here with an ignorant view. And notice I said ignorant. It's from a place of not knowing, because I don't know the full context. If you don't know, there's a difference between arrogance and ignorance. Google it. Check the dictionary.
You had to just tell the people.
No, you had to send them to do some homework, just like the homework you didn't do since the Carnival season when I told you to listen to Carry It. Anywho.
I did actually use Carry It as the closing song the next weekend.
What did you listen to provide a...
Yes, and he called Marabella and probably like the third version of the chorus.
Cool, no problem. Anyway,
I hope you retract that statement with the same... Anyway, there's a whole other thing. Prominence with which one misspeaks, and then the minimal effort to retract or correct. Anyway, go ahead.
Anywho, right? No, meaning that we didn't have a discussion about Carry It on the show.
Fair.
Right? Anywho, back to the Choctaw situation. Now, again, I'm saying this from a place of ignorance. To call soca stupidness is an insult. Because if my memory serves me correct, some of the great calypsos of yesteryear are classed as soca in today's iteration. Black Stallions, Black Man Feeling to Party. Super Blues, Bacchanal Time. Just to name a few, are more classed within the soca iteration, but they would have made their wave within the calypso space when they made it to Calypso Monarch finals. Because again, back then, soca had more of a storytelling aspect as opposed to what it is today. So saying soca is stupidness, that was madness to start with that part. I didn't appreciate that one, Chucky. Now let me get down to the classification of how he said that 2025 Calypsos. What he said, that was the bottom of the barrel.
Keelan was the best of a bad lot or something.
And thank you. How could you say make such a statement? Now, admittedly, and this is my personal view, up to Calypso Monarch semis, up to the night of the masquerade, 6:56, when I sat on that chair and the piece of paper was placed in front of me, I didn't know what Marshall Montano was singing.
Right.
And to see that he came there with Batman, I always asked the question, if he was singing that, he had to write about 57 more verses. Because to put that song inside the Calypso Monarch, that is an insult to the art form of Calypso.
Mm.
And this is my view.
Right.
You could make my meme, post it, I really don't care. That was my view.
Yeah, don't say that, I'm full of some brutal other memes this wrong. So.
Yeah. But if you're making a meme of it, make sure and watch the whole interview of this episode of the Lift Room to get context as to why I said that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So to say, for me, Marshall Montano's song, Batman had no place in Calypso Monarch.
Yeah, I'm curious though.
Mm-hmm.
How many Calypso Monarchs were there competing in this iteration? 7.
Yeah.
I wonder if people understand the level of disrespect he has paid to the monarchy, to Calypso Monarch as a title, Calypso Monarch as a competition.
I like how you use monarchy.
Just saying, but 7 past winners.
And you saying is the best of a bad lot.
7 past winners. Right? You're talking about, let's not even include when there was COVID. 7 past winners means we're probably going back to 2015 or 2016. Right? You're telling me for the past decade, 7 winners, and this is a bad bunch? So were you really telling me there, sir, is how long you've had a problem with Calypso Monarch? And
not just that, multiple time winners in the mix as well too.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So let's look at how far back he has been looking at Calypso with this disdain. He didn't say that it was a bad year, you know? Well, maybe he did. Anyway.
If my memory serves me correct, again, I want the stats to say Kurt Allen in 2010. Right? 2010, and Kurt Allen placed second this year. He was a former monarch. Corinne Ashley in 2011. Roderick Gordon did the double. Sorry, no. Yes, he did the double in 2014 and 15. Helon Francis in 2018. Terry Lyons in 2020. Dwayne Tizea O'Connor in 2023. And Marshall Montano in 2024.
Right. So with Kurt Allen's victory in 2010, we're talking about these have been monarchs for the past 15 years. And you say that this winner who won before, nah man. Tell us how you really feel.
Who, me?
Not you, him.
Oh, I go and tell you how I really feel. 1, as I said, I'm not discrediting Chocolate's input. 2, Marshall Montano's song had no place there. 3, social commentary is exactly that. Commentary of the social issues of the country. I do not appreciate the way that he pinpointed Terry Lyons, Ask Your Man.
Very disparaging.
That, here now, that for me is one of the most socially relevant songs inside the Monarch this year.
Especially considering the incident, the vicious attack that occurred days before the final. Right, with the young hairdresser. Right, well, come on, man.
And
you know, I feel he had an enamel cup of mushroom or something.
I honestly feel he was a tad bit under the influence of the alcohol.
You know what? Let me retract that statement as quickly as I said it. I don't know if or what the man was influenced by.
I feel he had a drink or two.
Now, he's not the one to do that. Is because
Oh, sorry. Yes. I do apologize.
Yeah,
they probably caught him at And you know what's the sad part in all this? I also think that the persons who were asking the questions were chucking and probing to get that kind of response too.
I mean, but that's a job though.
I know that, but I don't think it was journalists. I don't think it was journalists.
So now here is another issue. Privacy. Right? In terms of the context in which a conversation is being had and then shared, we've seen too many people taking advantage of people in vulnerable positions or in unguarded moments, producing things in social media and public platforms.
And you see, that is my thing too. Now, that could have been like me and you having this conversation here, not that we having it on air on WAC 90.1 FM, obviously. But like say me and you was sit down in my gallery home and you ask me that, and then the next day I see all of a sudden you post up that thing I say about Marshall Montano.
Right.
Now again, that's my view. Or you take my view in a private conversation and put it on a public platform. Right? Now, that's the Terry Lyons debate for me. Now, everybody who listens to WAC knows I have an affinity for Terry Lyons. Terry Lyons is my artist.
Right.
She's my monarch.
And if she having another concert this year, I will be attending.
We're going. Right? But what I'm saying is, social commentary is exactly that. The social issues of 1985, not going to be the same social issues that we're facing today. And then also, if it's the same social issues, not everybody wants to sing about the same social issues.
I personally think Terry's performance was outstanding. I think her skit was actually very relevant to the song. The acting was so good at a point in time that Lando and I we watching each other and thinking,
they're really beating that man.
This thing looking like it have undertones of being serious.
I actually thought so as well.
It was a nice break from, and again, it was nice to have that diversity of calypso in the competition.
And if you looked at it now, some people may think I'm a now come to the Kaiso art form, but I have been astutely following calypso monarch from since when I keep saying, when I used to record it on VHS to send for my aunt in the States when she's not here. Right? I follow in Kaiso, but it's now that I'm on WAC and I could sit down and talk Kaiso. I used to do the Drass Commander. Now I'll go and sit down and talk Kaiso with Kenny.
Hey, look for Heartlion on Facebook and get in contact with this man about purchasing some of them things that he growing now, because this man is planting the land and reaping the fruits and vegetables of his labor. Big up Brass Commander. Always allow.
Right? Now, I'm glad I could talk Kaiso with these fellas. But when I sat there on the Masquerade night, you got Kaiso from all different angles that night. From Twiggy 65 and Still Relevant, which I jokingly say is Kenny's anthem. I told them that, don't worry. To Squeezy Rankin's Justice,
which I love that song too bad.
To Young Brothers We Rise, to Terry Lyons Ask Your Man, to Hedon Francis's To Whom It May Concern. And then we even went back down in it and Chuck Gordon, Look to Press.
Big tune.
We got many variant stories on that one night.
Even
and for me,
Kaiso
to the world.
The man sat with us in our last episode. The week before Calypso Monarch, he take the time to bless the living room.
But Kaiso to the world. So for you to turn and say that this was the best of our bad luck. Chalkless, again, we thank you for your contributions. But sometimes, as the old people to say, if you don't have nothing good to say, you know what you need to do? Do say nothing.
Anyway, whatever we. I get.
But I'm glad you bring up this part of it, because within this past 2 months and a couple of days, we would have witnessed a lot of positives within the Carnival season.
Including Tabigonian representation in the Dimashqa itself.
Yeah, Roslyn.
Yeah, Sing It in Kaiso.
Sing It in Kaiso. Now, we witnessed a lot of positives within the Carnival season. And I want to give some organizations their flowers. I don't know if they're going to hear me, but if anybody's a representative of those organizations and they're listening to WAC now, this is the time to pass on that message. CPEP. CPEP, I know persons joke about it and the seriousness of the organization and their usefulness, but to see CPEP after every show at the Queen's Park Savannah, cleaning after every presentation of a king and queen with the blower, sweeping the stage, ensuring that the next participant has a safe environment, and then to go a step further and to be able to clean the streets of Port of Spain after Monday and Tuesday Mass so that life can resume as per usual by Ash Wednesday morning. I salute CPEP.
People still make CPEP jokes?
Yes, they do.
Anyway, I listen. Sorry, this is me actively listening.
Trinbago. You have successfully hosted 4 different categories of Panorama from November last year to Carnival Saturday this year.
In Trinidad and Tobago.
In Trinidad and Tobago. So much so that Panorama finals, the last note was hit on large band finals at 12:01 on Carnival Sunday morning. In prior years, 2 o'clock Pan might have still be playing.
Yeah.
So to Trinbago, the events management team, the overall stage manager, Siobhan, and the React team, I salute you for the work that you have done in improving the Pan product, the Panorama product within the Carnival season. A special shout out to Marcus Ash.
That your other co-host.
Well, I says co-host. You know what? We are each other's co-hosts. Right? A special shout out to Marcus Ash for the marathon sessions that we did. And also apologies for not making it across to Tobago. And I need to book my ticket from now for next year. And also for Carnival Lanyap on Saturday. I was really flat out, guys. I could not function. I couldn't make.
You don't care. You just flaunting your other co-hosts in front of me like my feelings don't matter.
Your feelings do matter, Ricardo.
Anyway, you know what? Go ahead. Do as you. Always come back to deal with them. Always come back to deal with them.
I had to come back home now.
You know what we should do, Aaron? We should do a 12-hour limiter.
What's the world record for the longest podcast?
Don't say that on WAC now. Oh God.
Anyway.
God.
Right?
If anybody could do it, I know I definitely.
Yeah. To the San Fernando Carnival Committee, you have restored a renewed faith that San Fernando is the second biggest carnival in the country of Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, I have no qualms in saying it.
No, sorry, say that again.
To the San Fernando Carnival Committee, you have restored faith in me that San Fernando can be and will resume being the second biggest carnival celebration in Trinidad and Tobago for the festivities.
Do tell.
The restoration of the route to Sipero Street played a huge part in it. Because last year the route would have taken us down the wharf. Sorry, the waterfront in San Fernando. Apologies.
Yeah, that's what's happening when you stretch wharf out. It becomes water.
Right?
For waterfront.
Thank you. All right. So to restore Master Sipero Street, which is what we as San Fernandians know it to be, kudos to that. It brought back a renewed energy. So we thank you for that, and we look forward to your plans for Carnival 2026. This one going to be a controversial one, but to the promoters of the Ultimate Soca Champion, for bringing back that competition aspect to the soca arena, and also the implementation of a youth soca monarch inside there. So congratulations to Sucre. He hails from Palo Seco. He's the youth soca champion, and congratulations. And I know a lot of persons will say, wait, but we now bring back a soca champion, aka, right? And the first winner is from Grenada, but big up Blacker Dan. I think that song, I'll openly say it, I sang that song to the top of my lungs on numerous occasions.
The first I even heard of that song was you mentioning it. So that's how it got on my radar, and I could see it has the staying power. It's a good song. It's a good song, and clearly a lot of men and women could resonate with the message behind it.
Young and old. I think I have two sets of flowers to give out again to Mr. Akenthon Lewis, better known as Young Brother. Akenthon, thank you very much. You, sir, no titles that you could have won this year could have given you the victory that you have given Trinidad and Tobago for the hope that you have instilled in the youth. If you don't know Young Brother's journey, he started singing on corners and Sealots and on Instagram lives to now competing for major titles in the Calypso space. Calypso space and soca space. He has given renewed hope that you do have one, that you don't have to wait till you reach 50 to start a sing Calypso. And two, that where you start is not where you're gonna end.
Remember the next thing too is he wasn't just singing, but he was performing a new art form that was heavily discouraged, even by us at the end of the day too.
And I want to say that because I was not a fan of him.
No, the thing is, I never listened to him because he performed in a space that I wanted nothing to do with. And then I actually saw him for the first time I actually listened to more than 20 seconds of Young Brother was in Panman last year, Joshua Regado's concert in Naparima Bowl, right? And I'm looking at this youth man performing music that I have no care for, and I'm seeing his talent, I'm seeing his drive, I'm seeing his ability to connect with the crowd, I'm seeing what he was capable of. And I turned to my date and I told her, I said, listen, if this young man changes his direction, he will do amazing things for the culture. And thank God for it, a year later, we're seeing that he can use his voice to move
masses.
To move masses, and particularly a different direction. It is unfortunate that just days after bringing home our relative victories to Sealots, because if I'm not mistaken, he came second in the Ultimate Soca Championship, right? And then he
third in the
came third in Calypso Monarch, right? It was sad that after taking the celebrations to Sealots, that a couple of days later, Sealots was to make papers again
for the wrong reasons.
For other reasons. It is sad that it is also shows the importance of the contributions that these young men and women are capable of making, because these are oppressed environments. These are reflections of a society that is struggling to deal with many social issues, right? And what it does, it kind of makes you wonder as well too. You know, is there a deliberate force behind these things that just when Sealots get something to celebrate, right, that a certain group, a certain element activated in the way that it did to bring this space back into disrepute? It's almost as if they again, and I'm saying it again, and let who have eyes to see and ears to hear understand. But just after Joshua Grello broke the world record, or at least completed his attempt to break the world record, right? The country had to go into a state of emergency. I want to let her understand what it is saying here. It's almost as if there's a deliberate attempt by something in this country to stifle any sense of upliftment. But there's not Sunday program, so I'm gonna leave that there.
And I want to say, and my last set of flowers this season goes out to one Dr. Marshall Montano.
Okay.
And the reason why he's getting a set of flowers is because he continues to show what hard work looks like, what the results of hard work are.
Okay.
Persons would have talked about how the issue with the Tuco rep and how she talk out a turn and all these different things. I'm not here to talk about that. What I'm here to say is from February the 7th, which was Marshall Montano's first performance for the Carnival season at Mega in Brian Lara, when he ran on stage with Paddy, to Carnival Sunday morning when he ran out on the top of a truck at Soca Street Festival. Marshall Montano pushed that song to win his 11th road march title. That is how that is the road march title is the reward for the hard work for that period of time. Where he went out there, he campaigned his song to the people, and he won the title he was looking for, which put him level on road marches with the late great Lord Kitchener. You know what a feat that is to win 11 road march titles?
Hey, according to other icons in the art form, maybe he's just the best of a bad lot. See what I did there?
Let's see what I did there.
Yeah.
And you see how that belittles the achievement of a Helon Francis or a Marshall Montano?
Yeah, very chalky, baby. Anyway.
Anyway. I just want to say, like, those are I know I would have missed some persons who would have had great Carnival seasons.
Well, I want to do one.
Let me hear you.
I want to do one. No, you finish, and then I will do mine.
Oh, yeah. I know I would have missed persons that you would have held there for their roles in this Carnival season. And let us know in the comments so we could try and make mention of it at another time. But from the seat I sat in throughout this entire season, I want to shout out those persons or those organizations.
Well,
also, lastly, very quickly, the Ministry of Tourism, Culture and the Arts. And the Minister, Randall Mitchell, who I am convinced has a clone, because I have never seen one man appear in so many things.
Well, apparently, Marshall Montano was in everything that he could have been in over the past couple of weeks. I even heard that if your Potter was making puppies, he could have shown up and perform. The man was in everything. If Brongy was making puppies, you might have seen Marshall run out singing pal. You deserve a party, Brongy. Right? Not to take away from the flowers you were given to the minister. I want to, however, acknowledge the Herculean efforts, and present company included, of WAC 90.1 FM. I want to celebrate. I want to tip my hat. I want to hang my hat. I want a round of applause. I don't think people understand what it takes to provide the level of service that WAC does with the size of staff that it is. Right? It was astonishing to me that when I turned on to a more well-established mainstream media houses online presentation, that they had fewer viewers than WAC 90.1 did for what was for the Gras up to a point, and then well they had more. But it was still impressive to see that WAC had 18,000, 19,000 viewers online at a point in time. It was nice to see 13, 14,000 for, was that Panorama or Calypso Face? Right?
And semis.
Right. What I'm saying is that is a ridiculous amount of work on managing not just the technical aspect, but the logistics of it, as well as being on-air presenters. Listen, the respect I have for the work that goes in, for the thing that he has built and continues to build, for the spaces that he's going into. All the joke and things set aside. Jed, this is me speaking from a position of raw admiration. Until you have tried to manage something with the technical challenges that a live broadcast and going out to all these countries with all this different equipment, until you understand what it is to manage that, understanding that batteries in a mic could cause a problem, to realizing that a cord not being jacked in properly could cause a problem, to realizing that somebody performing could step on something and cause a problem. What I mean is to just realize how many things could possibly go wrong at any given point in time. And then even worse yet, you try to navigate this on a platform that you have very little control over. So YouTube could pull a plug at any point in time for any frivolous reason or another. What I'm saying is, this was a gargantuan effort. And I want to acknowledge what it takes for you to continue to do this. Right? I want to definitely applaud the level of quality every single time you see the attention to detail and the dedication to improvement. Like, although I'm literally taking pictures of this online with my phone, and the clarity that I'm getting, taking pictures of a screen is testimony to the level of quality of production. Right? The audio is impeccable. You're talking about being able to hear and to be able to have live conversation while pan playing in the background and DJs playing music. And so this thing is wild, you know. So in terms of what it takes to be able to not just do this for 12 and 13 and 14 hours at a time, but also what it takes to prepare for it and continue the work afterwards. Jen, all talk set aside, when nominations come out this year, I'm putting all the names in the ring, Jen, for a national award. It is amazing to see, and I'm honored to be even peripherally involved.
I want to add to that, because the March Gras would have finished on Carnival Monday morning at around 2 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny and the crew were down in San Fernando broadcasting Juve by 5 o'clock.
Right. Well, Aaron, you know the names better than me. Call names. Let me get them flowers.
I want to say a special thank you to Kenny Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know full names after here. I only know Kenny Phillips, Kerry Rishi,
mm-hmm.
Kevin Lalchat,
mm-hmm.
Andel,
mm-hmm.
Aaron Alexis,
mm-hmm.
and I can't remember the new guy who came on.
Mm-hmm.
There was one other guy, a Rasta, a new Rasta. So it had a Rasta and then had a Ras.
Right. So Ras and a Ras.
Ras and Ras.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And to the team that was working in studio as well, the DJs who covered shift, listen.
I want to say, I'll close with this one.
Perilous.
Yeah, perilous. We close it out. What's happening now? To the hosts, Megan,
mm-hmm.
Marcus Ash for Pan,
mm-hmm.
Kent Phillips,
mm-hmm.
and myself.
Mm-hmm.
we would have done some marathon shifts with you all throughout this carnival season. And this is a personal one for me. I want to say a very special thank you to Richard C.
Mm-hmm.
Richard C would have held down the Fridays for me from, I think, before Christmas till Carnival Friday.
Yeah.
Right? For personal reasons, because I was on a special project for work, as well as I couldn't manage everything because I also had a lot of other jobs going on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, Richard C., I want to say a very special thank you to you. Right? Caption as well for understanding all that.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, as I keep saying, it don't be easy. That is one thing, it don't be easy out here. And I have seen the hard work from the other side, from the side of viewing it online and correlating with why this thing looking so, or why that song is so, to now being on the other end of it to understand why it could sound so or why it could look so. And also, just to say this too, because I know we're going to close off now. When you're in the savannah with 10, 15,000 people, to get a telephone, an internet provider to give you optimum service to be able to stream in 1080p or 4K, here now. That good work. Because for you who can't get cell phone service, we fighting for internet. Right, Carl?
Yeah, and I want to add one final name to the list, Miss Diane, the woman behind the man, behind the thing. Right, God bless all you, keep up the good work. And as far as I know, we and the listeners are going to do the most we can to continue to support and us going forward. Guys, this is yours truly, Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage on the global stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room. Remember, guys, the hourglasses will peak. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe.
And this is yours truly, Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code. And I also tell you that love is the currency. Spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys. And I also want to throw out a special belated happy birthday to my dad. And happy birthday in advance to my Aunt Lisa and my Auntie Debbie.
Happy birthday, Williams clan.
All right. Keep it locked. Mr. Desmond is back. Well, he up next, but he's back with the big band. Keep it locked.